Mexico City, a place where history and modern life come together. Sitting over 7,000 feet above sea level, is one of the highest altitude capitals in the world. Known for its rich culture, passionate people, and love for motorsports, from ancient pyramids of Teotihuacan to the lively streets filled with music and color, this city is always alive. And today that energy shifts to Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez, where a new chapter in racing is about to be written. For the first time ever, the Gainbridge Truck Series presented by NR Truck America takes on one of the most legendary circuits in motorsports, Autódromo Hermanos Rodríguez. From Formula One to endurance racing, this track has tested the best in the world, and today, a new challenge begins for the Gainbridge Truck Series drivers. With just 5 races left until the chase, every lap, every move, and every point becomes more critical. Last week in Nashville, we saw Peter Onjak dominate the competition, scoring a statement victory, but today a whole new test awaits. Tight corners, long straightaways will push these drivers to their limits. Who will rise to the occasion? I'm Trey Davenport here in the booth as we kick off the pre-race show and make history in Mexico City. The energy is high and the anticipation is building. It's time to go racing. Welcome, folks, to the Gainbridge Truck Series presented by NR Truck Night America, live from Mexico City. Let's head down trackside for our countdown to green. Welcome, everybody, to the NR Truck Night America Countdown to Green here, hosted by me, Charlie Davenport, coming into this race. So we got our countdown to green, and we're going to take a look at some of the things that you need to look out for coming into this race. But let's begin with our race overview. Coming into this pretty cold day here in Mexico City, actually, 57 degrees, the wind 16 miles per hour. So this race might be even tougher on these drivers. Those tires might be cold for most of this race. They're going to get warmed up, but not that much. 57 degrees. You think it would be a little bit warmer here in Mexico, but it isn't. 4.3 miles, 22 laps, 94 miles around this track. Seems like a pretty short race, but it is going to go by pretty slow. It's not short track racing. It's road course racing, so it's going to be interesting to see how some of these guys tackle a new circuit. The only guy with experience coming into this race is Angel Gutierrez, which we caught up with him earlier this week. Said he was happy to come here to Mexico City. You know, he was born in California, but most of his family lives in Mexico, and he's resided there most of his life. So Gutierrez may have some experience coming to this race, but as we look at where he's starting here today, 32nd, not running too well, but the field is paced pretty well. Some guys had some bad qualifying times that I'm going to assume they spun or something. Roxy D'Angelo, David Dixon, Matthew Huber, Trevor Vaden, I think they all got to the wall or something on their qualifying laps because they did not qualify that much on pace, or they could just have slow trucks come to this weekend. But looking at where Dixon and them finished earlier this season at Sonoma, that could be the case of them being pretty slow because they don't have the greatest finishing positions. Roxy D'Angelo did finish sixth in that race, though, so could be pace, could be them just hitting the wall or something. We don't really know, but yeah, it's going to be 22 laps, 4.3 miles, and we're likely going to have a pit. They're likely going to be pitting around lap 11. And a reminder is this race doesn't have, like, a caution for every incident, so if it's only 1 or 2 trucks involved, it is going to be a green flag. But if it is a pile up, then of course it is going to be a caution because that would just be bad if there wasn't one. But as we get into our point standings coming to this race, Landon Lodback has a great lead over Sergio Vittoria after finishing third at Nashville last week. Drove his way up from 29th. Vittoria also drove their way up to 7th. So these two have been battling all season. They drove their way up together, but that 71 made a pretty gutsy call at the end of the race to run long, and it actually worked as they finished third compared to where they finished would likely be 7th or 8th, right behind Sergio Vittoria. And then behind them, William Ayers, who's not had a great finish since Memphis, where he finished second, where he usually finishes second at most short tracks, but no, he just floats around this top 15 usually. Most of the races this season he's finished in the top 15, but yeah, only one finish outside the top 20 this season. Most of those finishes have been inside the top 15, and his only top 5 finishes are at short tracks, so Ayers struggles at these races, but he still gets the solid points to keep him up there. But I do think Peter Onjak, who won last week at Nashville, finished second in 3 of the last 5 races with 1 DNF and 1 win. He's been on a hot streak as of late. Not starting too well here today, starting currently, it looks like, yeah, he's going to be starting 15th, so middle of the pack. So we'll see what he's able to do, but I think Onjak is going to be in contention to take over that 3rd spot from 9 William Ayers with a good performance here today. We have the 7 of Huber, Matt Morley, who's been really dropping in the standings ever since these lackluster performances he's had in the past couple weeks, being a couple laps down in every race. Went from 4th to 6th from last weekend in these chase standings. Finished 32nd at Nashville, 17th at Charlotte, and 18th at Talladega. So not been on the streak he wants to be on. And it looks like he's going to just be on a downward spiral. And he might find himself at the cutoff line if it keeps up with these performances that have been mediocre. David Dixon, Nathan Stapleton, and Skylar Taylor behind him. 3 Tricon garage trucks running really well. Getting a cushion over that cutoff line just a little bit. Nathan Stapleton currently sits 26 points over that cutoff line, 43 for David Dixon. So they're in a comfortable position, but guys like Skylar Taylor, Brandon Haynes have to put together good performances. And our pole sitter here today, Adrian Gale, all have to have great performances. But like we mentioned earlier, that 7 and 5 not starting too well here today. So we'll see if that 5 and 7 can turn it around, or they might see themselves lose a place in the standings after this one. Nathan Stapleton, though, he finished pretty well, I think, at Sonoma. Yeah, he finished 9th in that race, so he got a top 10 there. Starting here today, 27th, so he will have to drive his way up through the race and likely make a gutsy strategy call to undercut or overcut some people. We haven't really seen overcut work this season that much, besides David Dixon at IRP, where he stole the win after making a pretty, I guess you could call, Hail Mary call. The 45 Brandon Haynes, he's been someone to look out for, starting 6th here today, and he's been on a hot streak as of late. Finished 15th, 3rd, and 2nd in the last 3 races, and that 45 team is really starting to come into their own as they jumped all the way up from 18th to 10th in the standings. So, like I said, this cutoff line is going to change every week, but Brandon Haynes, the next couple of races he's got up ahead, it looks like it's going to fare pretty well for him. Mexico, Worldwide Technology, so he's really solid at road courses and speedways, so this is the slate he likes to see as the season progresses. And sitting 10th currently, he's going to look to move up quite a ways. We mentioned Adrian Gill, our pole sitter here today, sitting 11th. Got that one at Sonoma. It's been a downward spiral ever since. Gale's DNF'd in 2 of the last 4 races and has finished outside the top 15 in every one of them, and finished 27th at Texas before that. So it's really been a downward spiral for that team. The first top 20 was at Nashville last weekend, so they are trending, I guess you could say, a little bit upwards. You know, the top 15 isn't the greatest. You know, they want to get top 10s in this series, but with being on pole here today and being probably one of the best, if not the best, road course ringer in the series, he looks like he could have a pretty good chance at becoming our 3rd multi-race winner this season and get his name up there. Travis Rawlin jumps up to 12th after being 16th in the standings. So yeah, like I mentioned, this cutoff line is ever revolving. There's Jordan for Jorgensen's always sitting on there. It's not much to say about this 12th position. You're going to see new guys there every week until it comes to the final race where we really have to track that race, that points race. It's not really much to look out for, as it's just a revolving door from 10th to 12th right now. It looks, well, I guess 11th to 12th, so the last final 2 spots, because everybody else besides that's been running pretty well, but you see the gap Landon Lauterbach has on the guys in 12th, nearly a 100-point gap. It looks like next weekend at Worldwide Technology, or even a race after, we could possibly see at Pocono or Gateway that these guys, even Landon Lauterbach, clinch their spots into the chase. And then besides that, it's just a race to see where you can finish, because where you finish does give you a points boost, so that will be a nice needed advantage going into that one. But besides that, that is all for our point standings and race info coming into this one. Some storylines to look at into this one. Obviously, the headlines in the news coming into this one: Jerry Chen leaving Sire Motorsports midseason, him and Caterpillar just not happy with the team, and they just eventually leave. And Alexander Rose going to be filling in for the rest of the season. Sponsored by Red Bull here today, but it is a one-race deal for them here at Mexico City. They want to get their brand out, but besides that, it's going to be Bama Buggies on that 77 for the rest of the season with Alexander Rowe piloting that machine. And then, Spire and also other news in the headlines this week are opening a Ford truck, the 07 of Giuseppe Martini, the Italian, a pretty good road course ringer. He is now going to be driving that 07 truck sponsored by Delaware Life, so he's going to be someone to look out for to see what he can do. Likely these new entries are not going to make the playoffs, but they get that needed experience to get to show these team owners what they can do going into next season, as it is going to be a pretty busy off season for the guys who eventually be team owners and deciding who they want their drivers to be, what trucks they want to open. So it is a good effort to see and get guys to look at you. And then another entry, our third entry, and our third and final entry, the 39th truck in the field, is the 22 Chris James. Sorry for all these uh, speech issues, but yeah, 22 of Chris James for Ryan Bros Racing, teammate of Davey Wall, starting 18th here today. Sponsored by Skip Barber Racing School. Just not a pretty low-key racer, but he's going to be solid starting 18th here today. Is a pretty good effort for him. We'll see what he's able to do for his debut. And yeah, so we'll see if that 33 Davey Wallace gives us some tips. Davey Wallace, obviously a road course ringer, not starting too well here today at 35th, but he is going to be able to give his teammate who is making his first start here today some good insight on what to do in your first starts as Davey Wallace also made a pretty late entry. I think his first race was Sonoma as well, so just everything's gelling there for Ryan Bros Racing as they have guys making their first starts at road courses. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But that should be all from the race overlook. Let's look at our drivers to look out for as we're going to start off with this 0-2 of Adrian Gale. And starting off with our first driver to look out for, it is going to be the 0-2 of Adrian Gale for Roper Hill Racing. A front row lockout for this team. They got two road course ringers, Gale, one at Sonoma, so we'll see what he's able to do here today. That Brunt machine's been fast at these road courses. As we mentioned, one at Sonoma pretty much ran away from the field and had a pretty dominant day. He almost led every lap. And then, yeah, so hasn't had the greatest performances the past couple of weeks. We mentioned how he's on the cutoff line, so that gives him that extra urge to do well. So we'll see if this 0-2 team shows up this week and gets a win at Mexico City. They got a pretty easy path going to turn one. They got that advantage, so they just got to control the race from there. And the second driver to look out for is going to be this number 1 of Scott Taylor, his first lookout on the season. But this number 1 truck, a very fast qualifier, but he just struggles with that race pace. I've mentioned it all season. He doesn't have the race pace at speedways where he could really show his speed in that number 1 truck. They call him the Rocket Man for a reason. But finished fourth here, fourth at Sonoma, and now he's starting fourth here at Mexico City. We'll see if the pace from Sonoma translates over here today, but this is a new track for everyone, so we'll see if he's able to pull it off. But yeah, I'm really looking out for this number 1. I think they could be faster today. They're starting on that outside, so not the greatest advantage, but they are definitely someone to look out for. And for the second week in a row, starting 6th here today, Brandon Haynes will be our driver to look out for. A road course ringer, good at speedways too, so he's got that balance between two of the most prominent tracks on the schedule. So I'm looking out for this 45 team. Starting 6th here today, starting on the outside line, so not the greatest advantage, but they're going to have to do some driving up. It's going to be kind of hard to challenge Adrian Gale and Tyrus McLean, but I think this 45 team could do it. They got the pace coming into this week, so there's someone I'm looking out for to possibly win this race. So that's my third driver to look out for. Let's get into our fourth and final driver. And with our fourth driver to look out for, he's going to be the man that is starting 11th in this race, Manny Candamil Jr. Finished second at Sonoma, right behind Adrian Gale. Didn't have the pace on the final laps to keep up with him, but I am looking out for this 99 team fast at all these road courses. They have the pace here. They're pretty fast in practice consistently at these type of tracks. He's going to be someone to look out for. Got a couple fans here. Colombian driver. Not really close between, well, I guess you could say it's close between Colombia and Mexico, South America and North America, so a little bit of separation between that. But yeah, I'm looking out for this number 99 of Manny Candamil Jr. He's going to have to do some driving up through the field, but I think he is able to do it. He started, I want to say, yeah, he started on pole at Sonoma, so it's going to be a very different race starting here near the mid-pack, so the 99 has a lot of steps ahead of him, but he is my last driver to look out for. So besides that, folks, thank you all for tuning in to the Countdown to Green. Let's get into these engines firing in our race start here for the Mexico City Grand Prix. So, folks, it is finally time to get these engines fired, whatever you want to call it, the Telcel 200, the Mexico City Grand Prix, whatever you call it. It's going to be a great race here around this circuit, a prestigious circuit at that, one of the most prominent road courses in motorsports. So these trucks can get fired up and ready to go, and we're going to get into this 22-lap race, folks. Thank you all for tuning in to the pre-race show just now. But make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy In Our Truck in America. The link in the description for the Discord server. So go join now. But let's get into these engines firing. Folks, it is time to go for the Telcel 200 Mexico City Grand Prix, whatever you call it, once again. It's going to be a long race, 22 laps. You can see on the left side of your screen the starting grid sponsored by Auto Parts for Less. Adrian Gale on pole outside, Ty McLean, his teammate. But as they come through this crowd section here, it'll be a final time. We are pacing here, well, unless there's a pile-up, which will cause probably the only type of caution we'll have called here today, unless it's a really big incident. But, yeah, coming through here, we're going to come to this long straightaway, 3 long straightaways around this track, folks. Adrian Gale, the Australian, is going to be leading us to green. On the outside, he's going to have his teammate of Tyreek McLean. As you see the pace truck come down to pit road, these fans are lined up in the crowd, and it's about time to go racing. And the green flag's underway for the Telcel 200. As they come through that crowd section once again, you can see that 75 of Sierra Cooper. She got the lead into turn 1, and now she is driving away from that 02 of Adrian Gale as they come back around. Gale in second now, third is Ty McLean, fourth is Davenport, fifth is going to be Rogaldorn, so 2 McNally trucks in a row right now. They're trending upwards. Manny Canamel Jr., he's made a lot of passes. He's moving up in this race. Look at Peter Onjek as well. So 2 of those Fords driving up in this one. And we'll see where they clock in here. It's going to be 9th and 11th for that 99 and 38. So they are making some moves in this one. Behind them, that 92 is falling off a little bit. But see the pass now. Look at Chris James now looking to make a pass on that 9 of William Ayers in his first start. And he's going to get it done. And yeah, he's going to clear him. And oh, a huge checkup for that number 9 there. He cannot be doing that. So a huge checkup there for the number 9. of William Ayers, and now he's going to be battling with that number 26, but Chris James in his debut faring pretty well so far. We get back up here. It's going to be side by side between Brandon Haynes as that number 56 of Hallie Anderson Jr. He's fighting 2 trucks right now, that number 1 and 45. They're going to get the run on the apex coming out of that turn. Going into the next turn, are they going to clear them? No, not quite. Still battling side by side here. And there goes that number 1 of Skylar Taylor. He gets a great run going through the S's here, and he's going to get that move off. Moving back up ahead, the 75 of Sierra Cooper. She's still driving away. That 02 of Adrian Gale has to have something for this 02 truck, but right now it doesn't quite look like it. That 75 keep maintaining the gap, only 2 laps into this one. Going through this crowd section once again. But yeah, this is a really long race, as you can see, 4 miles around this track, folks. But now coming through, they're coming to lap 30. Sierra Cooper has led all 3 laps here today. And right now, it doesn't look like Adrian Gale doesn't have too much for them early on in this race. They might have a good drive. Well, not a good drive, but a long, well, what is it called? A longer pace truck, but right now that 75 team brought some speed coming into this one. Behind them, it's pretty much single file, it looks like. Nobody really side by side. Well, the 88 Central Buchanan side by side this teammate of Evan Marisi. We'll see how this goes going into this turn. Look at Angel Gutierrez looking to make some passes, maybe looking for 3 wide there. No, not quite. He's got the roar of the home fans, but he's not going to quite get the move done just there, just yet. Yeah, so running that Gainbridge scene. Oh, and that's going to run a little bit wide. And now that 25 of Carl Young running right up against him. But yeah, Gainbridge joining on as a series title sponsor. You can see that in pre-race. But they sport 2 trucks in the series at 2 and 7 who are not running too well here today. Then behind them, Landon Lauterbach and his team of Giuseppe Martini not running well. Martini running next to last. So Jorgensen running next last. Lauterbach not running too well. Dixon as well, the New Zealander. So yeah, not too many good performances by some of these guys that need to perform here today. That 7 as well as Matthew Hubert. As we get back up front, see that 18 James Daniel maybe had some issues. It seems like a common theme for that number 18 truck. But you see, back up front, looks like that 02 is now starting to chop down that gap a little bit that 75 had last lap around. So we'll see what the times look like with the interval between these 2 trucks here. But I think that 02 chopped down some time. I could be incorrect because that 04 did catch up to his teammate of Adrian Gill. But I think they did catch up a little bit. No, they actually lost some time. So about a second back now. So the 75 starting to come into her own. And she's still maintaining this one. A new circuit. So maybe that new circuit not faring too well for Adrian Gill. But nobody really has that much experience coming into this one. But you see Patrick Venderop now right behind Brandon Haynes, but behind him, Sanjo Vittoria looking to make a pass on Chris James. Going into this turn, James going to have that outside line. That 92 tries to squeeze him there. He's going to get the squeeze done now. Does the 22 battle back to the inside for a switchback? No, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Behind them, you see Nathan Stapleton run really wide there, battling with that 26 and 9 of William Ayers. And as they go into the turn, they're going to be side by side once again, but see Vittoria finally clears James, but see here if Stapleton and Ayers get through this one cleanly. Now that 26 of Mateo Castillo now battling on the outside of that number 9. Does he get around the outside and get that move done? It looks like he's going to use Apex and get a run here, but he might not clear him. But yes, he does. But now he's going to have Ross D'Angelo battling to the inside of this number 9. Behind her, Alexander Rowe in that Red Bull machine for this race, making his first start. And running, catching back up front. Look at these guys up here, and you can actually see it this time around. That 75 has lost some time to that 02, if it wasn't as obvious there. But you see, they had about a second gap last time around, but this time it looks like it's going to be chopped down by quite a lot. Yeah, you see that right there. The interval shortening up, and that 18 James Daniels, some lap traffic ahead at a road course, which you don't really see a lot. He might cause some issues, possibly cause a train here, but yeah, that 75 must have made a mistake. She probably took a different line going to the turn, because right now she's losing time to Gale, but you can't be running that wide if you're Agent Gale, because that's going to lose you some time, as well as the 04. And now that 43 Davenport might be looking to make a move on Tyrus McLean here pretty soon. See that 43 really selective with his braking there. Really tried to time that one up there. That's pretty interesting. But let's ride along board with our pole sitter Adrian Gill for the Sunoco pole cam as he tries to track down this number 75. You can see they're riding on board with that number 02. You see that 75 starting to gain a little bit of time there. Got a great run going into this straightaway. But you see this 18 of James Daniel running up ahead. Not sure what quite happened to them, but let's go take a look. So actually right here, folks, you see this 99 hits a huge dive bomb on that 23. Causes there's a lot of contact in the back of this field. And that's what makes the 18 come down pit road. So I'm not sure what happened there, but that number 11 is running fine right now. But there was a lot of contact on this first lap in the back of the field. We didn't really catch it at the time, but that 99 of Manny Canamil Jr. makes a gutsy dive bomb on that 23, and that's what's going to cause that 18 to be our first lap traffic of the day. But let's get back to the live racing action. So, of course, you hate to see for that 18 team. Not really much you can do there, but that 23 also got a dive bomb from that number 99, and after that, there was just in no man's land. But, yeah, so we catch back up with our leaders here. Very unlucky, but that 99 of Manny Canamil Jr., a missile going into that turn, knocks the guy out the way. And now he currently runs 8th in this race. But right now, once again, that 75 of Sierra Cooper maintaining this lead. Cooper was good at Sonoma as well, and not one of the best drivers in the series, but they're always solid. So this isn't too much of a surprise for me. They did have that pace at Sonoma, like I said. So I do think they could possibly be an underdog coming into this one, but they are starting pretty well. Yeah, they finished third in that one. So Sierra Cooper's got the pace, so this isn't much of a shocker. We'll see if she pulls it off, because there's a lot of things that go into these races, so this really could unfold in front of her eyes. But, yeah, we'll see how it goes. They got that 18 James Young up ahead, that McNally Racing machine, so we'll see if they're able to get around him with no issues. With that 02 Gale as well, might use that 18 as a pick and possibly get around her, because it looks like passing's a little difficult up front here today, because you don't want to make a mistake and ruin your own race, so you're kind of just running in line right now. But as the 75 comes around on the straightaway to take lap 7 in this race, they look like they're going to close up on this 18 James Daniel and just likely look to make a pass here. A very delayed pass at that. Gale as well. That 18 really goes up on the back of Gale there. But yeah, so that's our first lap traffic of the day. Didn't really expect to see lap traffic here at Mexico City, but anything can happen. And with what the damage that 18 got in that little that little scrum we got into in the back, that's not really much of a shocker. And you see as everybody making their way around the lap traffic, Davenport here is going to be stuck behind them until the turn loose in time to tire and clean. Hallie Anderson Jr. though, running really well. To talk about them much here today, but Anderson's actually running well for once. They didn't have a great start, but now currently running 7th. Got Manny Canamil Jr. right behind him, who's probably going to pass him at some point in this race. He's a really good road course racer. That 56 is running really well, so they are somebody to look out for, definitely. Patrick Finderoth behind them. The 45 Brandon Haynes, that 38 of Peter Onjak. They've all been someone to look out for. That 45, fortunately, has fallen back quite a ways, but we'll see if he's able to turn something around. Our next lap traffic looks like to be this 42 Dylan Matiska. So most of the guys who got that brunt of that lap 1 incident, it looks like. I'm not sure when the first pit stops are going to start in this one. I would assume around lap 11, so a couple laps away from that, but I would assume around lap 11. That is about the halfway, well, that is the halfway point in this race, 22 laps around this road course. And like I said, it's not going to be a quick race, folks, but this 75 in command right now, and behind him you see this, the passing lap traffic style. We had a pass here going on at number 1, Skylar Taylor. Don't do anything stupid. We saw Talladega then make a lot of aggressive moves that costed others their races. Let's go back here. Do we see any battles going on? Doesn't quite look like it, but you see the damage on that 07, the 5, the 7, the 11 especially. He got a lot of damage. He got spun around and ran into. See this, the 33 Davey Wallace, teammate of Chris James, who's making the first start, didn't have a good day either. And that 71, Landon Lauterbach, our points leader. This can be his worst finish in ages after he's been on a hot streak as of late. We talked about Peter Onjak and his hot streak, but Landon Lauterbach, he's been really fast as well, but qualified near the back here today, and it looks like he is not going to be getting the finish he wants, but he was fast in practice, so that could easily change, but in this one, it doesn't look like that's going to quite be the case. But as we catch up front here, folks, you can see it on your screen right here. This 0-2 of Adrian Gale's gotten to the back of that 75 of Sierra Cooper. No mistakes needed here by Cooper. One mistake could give that 0-2 an advantage to get past him. See Gale really selective with his braking there. Looked like he almost locked the tires up there. And once again, not a great corner there, and that's going to allow this 75 to gain some time. Gale locks up his tires, it looks like, and he loses a lot of time from being on the back of that 75. So Adrian Gale, we thought he was closing up there. Well, he did close up, but that final sector, I guess you could call it, we're talking in F1 terms, that 75 has been better than that 0-2 all day. As we look at our fastest lap here today, it's going to be that 0-4 of Tyreek McLean, actually. So he's got something going for him if he can get past his teammate possibly. And you see Gale run really wide, so Gale just not having a great first or second sector. And now look at the 0-4 possibly looking to make a pass for second, trying to stick his nose in there. He doesn't quite get it done, but behind them we saw a little bit of a battle forming between some of these guys here. I'm not sure where it was. I might have missed it, but yeah, there was some guys looking to make a pass, but looks like they didn't get it off as this back single file back here. But you see this 13 gives some pressure to this 38 of Peter Onjak. Patrick Finderop been really solid ever since he's made his first start at Memphis for that 13 team who was plagued by Gabriel Candamil at the beginning of this season. But yeah, so Candamil Jr. running pretty well, but it stayed pretty chalk in this one, as they're still just running their own race right now. Can't make too many mistakes, as we've seen with that 0-2 of Adrian Gale. See, he closes back up to the back of them, that middle sector, but right here, just takes actually a way better turn there, but he usually takes a very awkward braking there, and that's really costed him. But this time around, it looks like he's going to get some pretty solid braking, and what comes into play with that braking is the guy ahead of you. They don't want to run back into them, so did lock up the tires there to possibly running to the back of a Chevrolet teammate of Sierra Cooper, which there's a lot of Chevys in this top 10. The only Toyota there is this number 156, and besides that, 6th through 8th are the only guys that are not Chevy. So Chevy pretty solid here at these road courses. They got a lot of road course ringers. 45 Brandon Haynes, and actually Ryan Little isn't quite a road course ringer, but he's running well here today. Up ahead, besides that, is the 91, 43, 2 McNally Racing guys. Actually, 3 McNally Racing trucks in this top 3. The 19, 43, and 91. A lot of assortment of numbers, so it's kind of hard to tell which team they are if you look from a blind eye. But 11 Bajorn for Jorgensen up ahead. We saw him get involved in that incident, but right now, this top 4 is really closing in on each other here, and kind of turning into a draft train here. But nobody's been able to make a move on Sierra Cooper here today, and if she leaves lap 11 here today, unless this 0-2 makes any move, it looks like they are going to get that extra point for lap sled, because they would basically just be tied if anybody else led the next 11. But as they come through, run through this crowd section once again, that 0-2 closing right up on the back of that 75. He's got a really good break in there. But once again, oh, here we go, Adrian Gale. Now starting to figure out the stadium section right here. Coming through, coming to lap 11, the halfway point in this race. Sierra Cooper leads. They do get the punch most laps led here today. It looks like 11, unless we have overtime and someone leads 12 or 13 laps, but it looks like it is going to be 75 getting that extra point regardless of winning here today. So we'll see when that first pit stop is made in this race. don't quite know right now, but look at that 43 Davenport putting his nose out there, possibly looking to get something done. He doesn't do it, but as we go back into the pack here, let's ride along with this number 22 of Chris James for that Skip Barber Racing Cam making his first start. You see right there, folks, how quite long this circuit is. But Chris James, with that Skip Barber Racing shoes, got some help from them to get prepared for this race and these other races coming up in the season, likely road courses. But he is a very solid racer and running pretty solid for his debut. Currently running, it looks to be 16th. So, yeah, running pretty well for himself in that number 22. See Vittoria running right there and sitting outside the top 10. Would like to get some better points, you would think, especially with how bad the 71's running today. This could be a perfect opportunity for that 92 to point his way to that regular season championship. And you see here back up front, these four still pulling away quite a bit, but that 75's opened up that lead to that 02 just a little bit. That 02 going to close up there. See if anything comes out of it. No, not quite, but that 75 here today, that truck is fast. I mean, they struggled in that last sector, that stadium section mostly, but, well, not stadium section. They've been very great there. This middle sector is where they struggle the most, but she's had a way of figuring it out, and you saw in that number 22 on board, he was in and out of the throttle going through some of those turns, so that was something interesting to look at, and see teammates almost make contact there. Tyler McLean almost runs into the back of his teammate of Adrian Gill. Keeps it close. Doesn't wreck him, though, thankfully. So see when our first pit stops again. It could be on this lap. You never really know, but I think we could see a good bunch of split strategy. And that 02, Gale locks up the brakes, it looks like, again. So he really holds up that 04 of Tyreek McLean, but that was a very interesting turn in. And actually, here comes the 02. The 75, the 04, the 43, the 91. Does everybody come in at once is my question, I wonder. There's always that one guy that's bold and takes the other option and runs long. It doesn't look like anybody's going to do that here today, though, which is pretty surprising. And, yeah, so it doesn't look like anybody's going to be running really long here today. So as we come down to pit road, we're going to see our race off of pit road here today, give you guys a better view. But everybody's coming down to pit road, so we'll see how this one plays out. Oh, and some contact being made on pit road. That could be something to watch out for. But we'll see what the call is. It looks like it's going to be 4 tires in this one. And there goes C.R. Cooper. There goes McLean. There goes that 04. Dorn, Taylor. So stays pretty chalk coming out of the pits. That 45 is going to peel in behind the 19. So it looks like it stays mostly the same for our green flag pit stops, likely the last stop of these races. And look at Vittoria with the fast stop. And Manny Cannamel Jr. is going to drop a couple places on pit road. So that 99 team not doing too well. And we'll see how they handle this pit exit here. Everybody taking it kind of slow. But Cannamel loses a lot of spots on pit road there. That's not something you want to see if you're Manny Cannamel Jr. Your team just puts you in a worst-case scenario. See the tire marks on the side of that truck. But as we get back up front, Saw some contact on pit road. Doesn't look like it's going to transpire into anything here, but that 02 Gale lost a lot of time on pit road to that 75 of Sierra Cooper. She is all the way up ahead now, and she could honestly be cruising her way to her first victory in the Gainbridge Truck Series. And you see, those pit stops really have opened up the gap here for everyone, as everyone's now spaced out quite a bit. So we'll see if Gil has that pace to catch up. But after lap 1, it's really been the 75 dominating this one, as she has figured something out. So we look at the practice times. I'm not sure where this 75 was in practice, but evidently they figured something out that's working. She was ninth in practice, but Gail was like pretty fast in practice, about 2/10 faster than Manny Canamo Jr., but it doesn't look like that pace is translating over. The pole sitter in this one, but it doesn't look like he is going to be the guy to win it. We've seen that only twice this season, I think, with Landon Lauterbach and I want to say Peter Onjak. Yeah, so only 2 drivers have done it, Landon Lauterbach and Peter Onjak. And now it looks like for the 11th time this season, it looks like the pole sitter isn't going to win this one, as Gale is still losing some time, about 2 seconds. It's going to be 3 here pretty soon if they keep losing time to the 75 for Henderson Motorsports. Running that ballpark hot dog scheme, which is very interesting. But they could see a new scheme next week. Actually, Spiked Coolers is a partner on that team, and they do have a scheme available. So they get a win here today. That Spiked Coolers brand might want to get their name on board for a couple races here and support Sierra Cooper in her efforts, because currently she does sit outside the chase, but she is very close to that cutoff line. Cooper is no slouch in this series. Not a big name driver, but she is very consistent. Well, consistent finishing mid-pack, but whatever works for you. But yeah, currently as we look at the chase standings, Sierra Cooper sits, coming into this race, she sits 14th. I completely forgot about that, but yeah, with the win, they're going to be in the chase after this one. 5 points off that cutoff line, and Travis Rollin, Brandon Haynes, and Skylar Taylor might all be sitting on that cutoff line after this one with not too great performances happening. Actually, Skylar Taylor sitting 6th here today. This chase standings are actually going to be very interesting coming out of this one, because they are going to change quite a bit, because that 75 completely forgot she was sitting 14th in the standings, because she's been floating around that area, but I thought she had dropped down to like 16th or 17th, but no. This 75 team came here to play here today, and they could very well be punching their ticket right now to a chase spot. Of course, it's not winning you're in, but it's going to give them a nice cushion. That 04 Tyler McQueen's going to get really loose. Lost the back end of that truck there, keeps it going. He's going to close back in on his teammate of Adrian Gill for a little bit, but now it's not going to turn into anything there. This front of this pack hasn't really tried to make any moves here today, which isn't much of a shocker. It's a road course race. You're not going to see a lot of guys make a lot of moves. We see David Dixon off pit road there struggling quite a bit. Landon Lauterbach, we'll see where he is in this one. He might be retired, actually. No, Landon Lauterbach might have been made up some spots, it looks like. Unless I'm mistaken here, but I don't know where he is, actually. Unless I floated over. Oh, here he is. Yeah. Running 36 currently, so no, he has not driven his way through the pack. I was going to say, that's 71. I don't know how they do it, but every week they bring a fast truck, but they do not drive their way through the field there. But let's look at the interval as Cooper comes out here with 6 laps to go. Well, no, 7 laps to go at the line. And we'll see what their gap is to Adrian Gale behind. It's actually started to plateau and just stay at 2.5 seconds. But yeah, it's going to stay at 2.6, so 2.6 car lengths behind. We'll see if Gale can hook up something in these final laps, but that 75 does have that closer archetype, so they aren't going to really fall off at the end of the race, I guess. So, but what a performance by Roper Hill Racing. Locked out the front row. Unfortunately, it's not going to be a win, but a great performance here. With Tyrick McLean finally running well. He struggled at these speedways, but we have known him as a road course stringer. Him and Gale are both road course stringers, so they finally get a good performance going after some bad luck for that team. We'll see if this helps Gale finally jump up a little bit in the standings, but that 75 Sierra Cooper, she's definitely going to be possibly higher than this O2 truck, because I do think this Chase standings are actually going to shift quite a lot, because this race is pretty much a wild card. First time we've ever been to the circuit. But as we look at the races ahead, it's going to be Worldwide Technology Speedway, aka Gateway, and then it's going to be Eldora, which is going to have some dirt heat. So if you don't qualify for the main race there, you could genuinely be cooked. So you're going to see a couple of dirt phenoms perform in that one. Monica Pato, William Ayers, all great at dirt racing, and a few others. So we have a few dirt racers in the series, and we'll see if they finally get their shine there at Eldora. But as you can see, this 75 of Cooper got ice in her veins here. Oh, no, not actually. So this O2 is actually chopping down some time on this number 75, it looks like. So this is going to be something to watch here. If they continue to chop down time, they could eventually be on the back there and possibly make a move on the final lap, it seems. Our next road course, if anyone is curious, is, I want to say Watkins Glen, which is right before our regular season finale, I want to say. I might be mistaken on that one, but yeah, it is Watkins Glen right before Indianapolis Motor Speedway, which is going to be a pretty fun race. The Brickyard 400, that's always a treat. But yeah, after this race at Mexico City, it's going to be Pocono. No, it's going to be Worldwide Technology, Pocono, Eldora. So forgot Pocono was in there. That's always a solid race. A very challenging track for these drivers with the way the turns are, especially that tunnel turn. Then it's going to be Watkins Glen International and then Indianapolis before we head to Darlington for the Southern 500. So yeah, a very bunch of interesting races to look ahead at. One more road course left in this season. So that's another chance for Adrian Gill to possibly get 2 wins on the season. But the way he's closing up on the 75 right now, he possibly could be cooking up something in these final few laps, possibly finding that pace he needs to get that race win. But if he gets to the back of the 75, can he make the move is the question. You see she runs really wide coming out of the exit in that one. And now coming onto the long front straightaway, this O2 of Adrian Gill is still chopping down time. Yeah, you see a full car length there, chopped down now, and he is closing back up to the back of the 75. Does he get a move done is the question. You can get to the back of someone, but can you make the move, and what type of move do you make? This is O2 rough the 75 up, shove her out the way. That remains to be answered, but these closing laps here, folks, as we come back around, it's going to be 4 laps to go. The clock is ticking for this O2 of Adrian Gill. Can he make a final lap move on this 75 Sierra Cooper? She's been dominant all day. Been a great defending effort. She's defended like a lion in that 75. Can they hold on for not one more mile, about 12 more miles at the line? I mean, this one would be huge for the 75. I mean, to be 14th in the standings, sitting on that cutoff line, been in that race every week on the cutoff line. Getting a win here, that possibly solidifies your spot in the chase if you finish consistent for the rest of the season, which they have been able to do that. So it is something to look out for, definitely. So we'll see if Gale loses any time here. It looks like he might be falling off a little bit. He gets a great exit. That 75, she doesn't run this wide this time around, though, so looks like this gap is likely going to stay relatively the same. So it stays relatively the same there. Gains about 9/10 there. But as we look behind, rounding after top 10 is going to be Peter Onjack, gaining some much-needed points on Sunjo Vittoria and William Ayers in the points. Speaking of Vittoria, he's running right behind Patrick Finderup right now, the Indian. We'll see if he's able to make a move on them, but it doesn't look like that's going to be quite the case here. Manny Canamel Jr. lost a lot of spots on pit road, and it's going to be a lackluster day for that 99 team. So Thor Sports is plagued with problems this season, but this Skip Barber Racing School machine of Chris James, just a great debut, running 13th here today. He has really made a great debut. He's really made a name for himself on a track that you wouldn't really expect him to be that good at, but sponsors got him prepared, and now he's got to just defend off Manny Canamel Jr. for a couple more miles. Nathan Stapleton looks like he's going to start where he finished. I mean, he's going to finish where he started. I don't know why I said that, vice versa. But it started 17th, I believe, and now he's going to finish 17th, so that's going to be something to look out for. Alexander Rowe in this number 77, filling in for Jerry Chen for the rest of the season, sitting 21st currently, so a solid debut for him. Angel Gutierrez in his home race, just not running too well. That 2 team for Rev Racing has not been running well this season. Gutierrez has a lot of experience across a lot of NR leagues, so we'll see if he figures something out maybe next season. He's going to be a name to look out for in the market, but I don't think this is going to be... I think this could be the worst performance we see by him at his home track. I think he definitely could be better next season, but just doesn't look like it's going to be that number Tuesday, which it's just sometimes not guys' day, but he's got a lot of home fans here cheer the cheers of the crowd. But we get back up front here, folks. This race is winding down. That lead is being cut down as well. Three laps to go in this one. Can Adrian Gill make the move? He's closed up right on the back of Sierra Cooper. He's seen the back of the 75 all day, but can he finally figure out something? He was the pole sitter coming into this race. Can he figure it out? It looks like we're going to have a duel to the finish, which you love to see at these road courses. Does anybody make any dramatic move is the question. Ooh, a little bit of a jolt there by that 02, and that 75 gains a lot of time. That is not what they needed there. Going to close right back up on the back of that 75, but could that be the nail in the coffin there for that 02? It looks like he's going to close back up, run a little bit wide, though. Does the 75 run wide? No, she doesn't. Keeps that turn. She ran wide once, and now I've been looking out for her, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen again. But Gale looks like he loses a little bit of time as we're coming to 2 to go at the line. Sponsored by Bass Pro Shops. And this is something to look out for. Lost a lot of time on that lap. Does Gale have anything in these final 2 laps? Will we have a duel to the finish? He needs a mistake out of that 75. But will the mistake happen is the question. Sierra Cooper finished 3rd at Sonoma. She watched that 0-2 win, but could it be the 0-2 watching her win here today? We come around here again. It doesn't look like he's gaining too much time. He was just up there, but he made that mistake. This time, once again, he jolted the truck a little bit, and that's what hurt him to lose some time. We'll see what happens this time as they go through these S's. We'll see if he makes any mistakes. No, it doesn't look like he's going to make any mistakes there. But yeah, this is where he made a mistake last time. Keeps it going there, so it just runs full straight on. And it doesn't look like anything is going to hurt him quite a bit there. Closes in a little bit, gets a decent run, but the 75 Sierra Cooper capitalizes off the mistake that 0-2 made We've seen that happen quite a bit. Guys make mistakes in these final 2 laps. We saw Peter Onjak at Charlotte really close up the challenge at 71, but made a mistake and lost that race for their team. And coming to the white flag here, folks. Be one more lap to go for Sierra Cooper. Can she win the Telcel 200? She's been solid all day. That 75 team finished 3rd at Sonoma. They got the pace at the road courses. They sit 4th, 14th in the standings. They need this win, but Adrian Gale looking to get his 2nd race win on the season and the 2nd out of road course. He's closing up on the back, runs a little bit wide there. They both run wide. It's going to be a duel to the finish between these two foes. What does Gale have in the tank? Closed up here, coming through the turn. Does he make up any time on that 75? If he makes a move, he's going to have to make a lunge into one of these turns to do an old-fashioned dive bomb that you see in these F1 races. I don't think that So2 has the pace here, folks. It looks like 75 with Sierra Cooper. She could be cruising her way to her first race victory here in the Gainbridge Truck Series presented by NR Truck Night in America. This is going to be the tell. A great corner there, or I guess turn for that O2, but coming through the stadium section one more time here at Mexico City. Does Gale have anything for her? It doesn't quite look like it. So for one final time, the fireworks go off here in Mexico City. Sierra Cooper in that 75 truck for Henderson Motorsports, sitting 14th in the standings. It looks like she's finally going to get it done, because Sierra Cooper, she's going to be the winner of the Telcel 200, and she's going to get her first race win on the season in the Gainbridge Truck Series, and she might have just punched her ticket into the chase. What a performance by that 75 team. 2nd behind him, Adrian Gale. Good performance for him. 4th, Davenport. 5th, Rogel Dorn. 6th, the number 1 of Skylar Taylor. Then behind him, the 56th, Hallie Anderson Jr. She finally gets a good finish. Brandon Haynes, Peter Onjak get some much-needed points. That 22 makes a great debut. But what a great race, folks. That 75 Sierra Cooper, she's going to burn it down as they make a long way around this track, but it's going to be a long victory lap. But congratulations to Sierra Cooper. A great race. They dominated, led almost every lap. Yeah, they led every lap because the green flag pit stops, everyone pitted at the same time. But Sierra Cooper, what a race win for that team. And they're going to burn it down here, folks. But you see, saluting the fans here. Thank you for all of the Mexico City fans to come out to watch this one. Going international, our only international, well, you can count Canada, but our only international race this season here at Mexico City, and it's a great one. The O2 doesn't quite have it in the tank to finish it off, but him and his teammate, they're going to be happy with the finish there. But we're going to get into the 75s burnout, and then we'll get into our finishing results. But as we get into our finishing results in the races, you see that 75 burned down. What a great win for that team. 2nd's going to be Adrian Gale. 3rd's going to be Tyler McLean. So 2 Roper Hill Motorsports or Racing, whatever it's called, trucks finished well. 3 McNally Racing trucks in the top 10. The 43, the 91, and 19. So they get a good performance. Davenport finally gets a stroke of good luck after a bunch of DNFs he's had on the season. Brandon Haynes finishes 9th. I thought he could have done a little bit better, but just doesn't have it here today. Peter Onjak drives up to 15th to finish 10th, gets a top 10. So that's a good finish for that 38 team to gain some points on the 9 of William Ayers. and the 92 of Sanjay Vittoria. Speaking of Vittoria, he finishes 12th, 8 behind Patrick Fenderop, who's still running really well. Chris James finishes 13th in his debut for Ryan Bros Racing, so they get one truck finishing well. That 33 debut Wallace, the red course ringer, doesn't finish as well, but Manny Cannonball Jr., we saw him fall quite a ways after a lackluster pit stop, so he drove his way up and then fell all the way back down about 5 spots. Eric Monaco behind the Memphis winner, top 15 for him. Matt Morley finishes 16th, so still having some pretty bad, well, not pretty bad, well, yeah, I guess, I'm going to call it bad for Morley standards, where he's finished earlier this season. Just sitting outside the top 15 is not where he wants to be. Neither does that 17 of Nathan Stapleton want to be, as he needs some much needed points, and it doesn't look like today's going to be the day he gets those points. As we scroll through the rest of your grid, you see a couple guys a lap down. The 29, the 77 finished pretty well in his debut, but Landon Lauterbach really struggled in this one. The 5 of David Dixon, a lot of guys got involved in that lap 1 scrum, which there wasn't going to really be a caution on lap 1. If that scrum happened lap 2, then there would have been a caution, but that's just lap 1, and there's just always chaos there. So you see Giuseppe Martini finishes 30th in his debut. I really thought they could have done better, but they just don't get it done here today. But so guys making their debuts finish decent. That 22 Chris James really impressed me though. The number 2 of Angel Gutierrez finishes 24th in his home race. That's just unfortunate for that Red Racing team. I thought they could have done better, especially with the experience he would have at this track, but unfortunately they don't get it done. But besides that, folks, that's going to be all from NR Truck 9 America and the Gainbridge Truck Series. Thank you all for tuning in. The link is in the description to join the server. So, thank you to all our partners, BML, PGMA, and all our partners there. Those leagues are on iRacing and NR 2003. Check them out in the description as well. The invites are there to check out our partners. But that's going to be Charlie Davenport signing off from NR Truck 9 America. Thank you all for watching this stream. We'll see you all next week for Worldwide Technology Raceway.